Have you ever felt exhausted no matter how much sleep you get? Or found yourself hitting a wall halfway through your workday, reaching for another coffee just to function? What if the missing piece wasn't caffeine, but a tiny vitamin your body needs for almost everything it does? Today we're diving deep into vitamin B12 and its surprising connection to weight loss, energy, and metabolism. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly what the research says, what it doesn't say, and whether B12 supplements deserve a spot in your daily routine. Let's start with the basics. Vitamin B12 is one of those nutrients that works quietly in the background, but its impact on your body is massive. It helps your body produce red blood cells, which carry oxygen to every single cell you have. It maintains the health of your nerves, keeping your brain and body communicating properly. It plays a role in boosting your energy levels, and perhaps most relevant to today's topic, it supports a healthy, functioning metabolism. Here's something that might surprise you. Research has found that people experiencing obesity may be more likely to have low levels of vitamin B12 compared to people who don't. That's an interesting connection, and it's exactly why so many people are curious about whether taking a B12 supplement could help them lose weight. But before you rush out and buy a bottle of B12 tablets expecting the pounds to melt away, we need to talk about what the science actually shows, because there's a big difference between correlation and causation, and understanding that difference could save you time, money, and false hope. The real role of B12 in your metabolism. To understand why B12 matters for weight, you first need to understand what your metabolism actually does. Your metabolism is essentially the engine that converts everything you eat and drink into usable energy. Every carbohydrate, every fat molecule, every protein you consume gets broken down and transformed so your body can use it to function, move, think, and repair itself. Vitamin B12 plays a critical role in this process. It helps your body take carbohydrates, which are your main source of energy, along with fats and proteins, and convert them into glucose, a type of sugar your cells use as fuel. When this conversion process works efficiently, you experience steady, consistent energy throughout your day. No crashes, no sudden dips, no feeling like you need to nap at 3 in the afternoon. Now here's where it gets interesting. Studies have consistently shown that people with obesity often have lower B12 levels than people who don't have obesity. On the surface, this might make you think, great, so if I just boost my B12, I'll lose weight. But hold on, because the research is more nuanced than that. What scientists have found is an association, meaning these two things tend to occur together. However, an association is not the same as proof of cause and effect. In simple terms, we don't yet have solid evidence proving that low B12 levels actually cause weight gain, or that taking B12 supplements will directly cause weight loss. The relationship could work the other way around, or there could be other factors at play that influence both body weight and B12 levels simultaneously. This is a crucial distinction, and honestly, it's one that gets lost in a lot of health content online. Just because two things show up together in studies doesn't mean one is causing the other. As Dr. Amelia Stone often points out when discussing nutrition myths, correlation is one of the most misunderstood concepts in popular health advice, and it's exactly why we need to look deeper before making assumptions. How B12 deficiency can indirectly affect your weight. So if B12 doesn't directly burn fat or melt away calories, how exactly could it be connected to weight at all? The answer lies in what happens when your B12 levels drop too low. When your body doesn't have enough B12, you may start experiencing fatigue and brain fog. Think about what that actually means in your daily life. If you're constantly tired and mentally foggy, how motivated are you going to be to cook a healthy meal instead of ordering takeout? How likely are you to go to the gym after a long day when you can barely keep your eyes open? This is the indirect connection between B12 and weight. It's not that B12 itself burns fat. It's that having adequate B12 levels can help you feel energized enough to actually stick with the healthy habits that support weight management, like regular exercise and mindful eating. This is a subtle but important point. B12 isn't a magic weight loss pill. It's more like a foundational piece that helps everything else function properly, so that your efforts toward a healthier lifestyle actually have a chance to succeed. Recognizing the symptoms of B12 deficiency. Now let's talk about how you can actually recognize if you might be dealing with a B12 deficiency. Because many of these symptoms are easy to dismiss or attribute to other causes like stress or lack of sleep. The most common symptom is fatigue and low energy. This isn't just feeling a little tired after a long day. This is a persistent, draining exhaustion that doesn't seem to improve no matter how much rest you get. Weakness is another common symptom. You might notice that everyday tasks that used to feel easy now require more effort, or that your muscles feel weaker than usual. Shortness of breath can also occur. If you find yourself getting winded doing activities that never used to bother you, like climbing a flight of stairs, numbness or tingling in the hands and feet is another red flag. Because B12 is so important for nerve health, a deficiency can cause these strange sensations, sometimes described as a pins and needles feeling. Difficulty concentrating is also common. This is often described as brain fog, where your thoughts feel slow, unclear, or hard to organize. Irritability can be a symptom too. If you've noticed you're more short-tempered or emotionally sensitive than usual, and there's no obvious reason why, low B12 could be a contributing factor. And finally, loss of balance. Some people with significant B12 deficiency experience issues with coordination and balance, which again ties back to the nerve health connection. If several of these symptoms sound familiar, it might be worth getting your B12 levels checked. A simple blood test can tell you exactly where you stand, removing the guesswork entirely. The potential benefits of B12 for weight management. While it's important to be clear that B12 supplements are not a scientifically proven weight loss method, there are several ways they may indirectly support your weight management goals. Let's break these down one at a time. The first benefit is boosting your energy levels. B12 plays a direct role in helping your body convert food into usable energy. When your body has sufficient B12, this conversion process works more efficiently, which can translate into feeling more energized throughout your day. The second benefit is reducing fatigue. If you're someone who has low B12 levels and correcting that deficiency, you may notice a significant reduction in tiredness and sluggishness. This restored energy often makes it easier to move more throughout the day, whether that's taking the stairs instead of the elevator, going for a walk after dinner, or simply having the energy to prepare a healthy meal instead of grabbing something convenient but less nutritious. The third benefit involves supporting mood and mental focus. B12 plays an important role in brain health, and a deficiency has been linked to symptoms like depression, brain fog, and poor concentration. When your B12 levels are adequate, you may experience improved mental clarity and a more stable mood. This matters more than people realize when it comes to weight management, because emotional eating and stress-related food choices are often tied to how we're feeling mentally and emotionally. The fourth benefit is improved exercise performance. With better energy levels and reduced fatigue, many people find it easier to exercise for longer periods or at higher intensities. Over time, this added physical activity, combined with a balanced and nutritious diet, can genuinely support your weight management efforts. So while B12 won't directly cause you to lose weight, addressing a deficiency can remove some of the barriers that make healthy habits feel so difficult to maintain. How much B12 should you actually be taking? Let's talk numbers. The recommended daily intake of vitamin B12 for most adults is 2.4 micrograms. That's a relatively small amount, but B12 is a potent vitamin, so a little goes a long way for most healthy individuals. However, if you've been diagnosed with a B12 deficiency, your healthcare provider may recommend a significantly higher dose to help restore your levels back to normal. This is not something you should guess at on your own. If you suspect you have a deficiency, getting a proper diagnosis and personalized recommendation is the safest and most effective path forward. Different ways to get more B12 into your system. There are several methods available for increasing your B12 intake, and the right one for you depends on your specific situation, whether that's diet, lifestyle, or the severity of any deficiency you might have. The first and most natural method is through food. Animal-based foods are by far the richest natural sources of vitamin B12. This includes meat, fish like salmon and tuna, dairy products, eggs, and beef liver, which is particularly concentrated in B12. If you follow a plant-based diet, you can still get vitamin B12 through fortified cereals, plant-based milk alternatives, and nutritional yeast, which many vegans and vegetarians rely on, specifically because B12 is naturally found almost exclusively in animal products. The second method is oral supplements. These are widely available over the counter and come in several different forms, including standard tablets, capsules, and sublingual options, which are designed to dissolve under your tongue for faster absorption into your bloodstream. The third method, typically reserved for more serious cases, is B12 injections. For people with severe deficiencies or underlying absorption problems, where the digestive system struggles to properly absorb B12 from food or oral supplements, doctors may prescribe injections. These deliver the vitamin directly into the bloodstream, bypassing the digestive system entirely and ensuring the body actually receives what it needs. The fourth method includes nasal sprays and transdermal patches, which are applied to the skin. These are less commonly used than the other methods, but they do offer an alternative delivery system for people who may have difficulty with pills or injections. Emerging research has even looked into transdermal patches specifically as a delivery method for micronutrient supplementation, showing that the field continues to evolve as scientists look for more convenient and effective ways to help people maintain healthy nutrient levels. What you should know before starting B12 supplementation. Before you go out and start taking vitamin B12 supplements, there are a few important things you should understand. First, the good news. Taking vitamin B12 is generally considered safe, especially if you actually have a diagnosed deficiency. One of the reasons for this is that B12 is a water-soluble vitamin. This means your body doesn't store large amounts of it the way it does with fat-soluble vitamins like A, D, E, and K. Instead, any excess amount your body doesn't need is typically flushed out when you urinate. This built-in safety mechanism significantly reduces the risk of toxicity compared to other vitamins. That said, very high doses of B12 can still cause some side effects in certain individuals. These may include headaches, nausea and vomiting, diarrhea, and dizziness. These side effects are generally uncommon and tend to occur only with extremely high doses, but it's still worth being aware of them, especially if you're considering high-dose supplementation. It's also important to know that B12 can interact with certain medications. If you're taking medications for acid reflux, such as omeprazole or lansoprazole, these can actually interfere with your body's ability to absorb B12 properly. Similarly, certain diabetes medications, including metformin, one of the most commonly prescribed medications for type 2 diabetes, can also affect B12 absorption over time. This is actually a really important point that a lot of people don't realize. If you're on long-term metformin therapy, it's worth discussing B12 levels with your doctor, since deficiency can develop gradually without obvious symptoms at first. Because of these potential interactions and the variability in individual needs, Dr. Amelia Stone recommends that anyone considering B12 injections or high-dose supplementation should first have a conversation with a healthcare provider. This ensures that any underlying causes of low B12 are properly identified, that dosing is appropriate for your specific situation, and that there are no conflicts with medications you might already be taking. Putting it all together. So what's the final takeaway here? Vitamin B12 is undeniably important for your overall health. It supports red blood cell production, nerve function, energy levels, and metabolic processes that convert your food into usable fuel. There is a documented association between low B12 levels and obesity, but the current research does not prove that low B12 causes weight gain, nor does it prove that supplementing with B12 will directly cause weight loss. What supplementing with B12 can do, particularly if you have a genuine deficiency, is help address symptoms like fatigue, brain fog, and low mood that make it significantly harder to maintain healthy habits. By restoring your energy and mental clarity, you may find it easier to exercise consistently, make better food choices, and generally stick to the lifestyle changes that actually drive meaningful, sustainable weight management over time. If you suspect you might have low B12 levels, whether because of the symptoms we discussed earlier, like persistent fatigue, tingling in your hands or feet, difficulty concentrating, or unexplained irritability, the smartest first step is not to just start taking supplements blindly. Instead, talk to a healthcare provider. Get your levels tested and get personalized guidance based on your actual results and health history. This is especially true if you're considering higher doses or injections, or if you're currently taking medications like acid reflux drugs or metformin that are known to interact with B12 absorption. At the end of the day, there's no single magic vitamin that will single-handedly transform your body, but understanding how something like B12 fits into the bigger picture of your metabolism, energy levels, and overall wellness can help you make smarter, more informed decisions about your health. Sometimes the smallest nutrients have the biggest ripple effects on how we feel and function every single day. If you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more evidence-based health content that cuts through the confusion and gives you real, practical information you can actually use. And if you have questions about your own B12 levels or symptoms you've been experiencing, drop them in the comments below. We read every single one. Thanks for watching.